Okay, so now we have everything modeled here for our slabs. So we can do the easy thing and get our grade beams modeled as well. The one thing is that I've not gone through and started doing the brick ledges yet. And the main reason for that is right now we don't have the information about what the elevation of those brick ledges is. And we also need to remember that from these details, there's a possibility that these brick ledges could extend even all the way into the rib, the grade beam itself, or it might extend into the thickened slab. And because we don't know those things yet, we're going to go do them last. They need to get done, but right now we're going to take care of those things last. So thankfully, this is pretty straightforward. Since we're looking at this, um, let's remember that we've already figured out what the thickness of those grade beams needs to be, or what the thickness of those ribs needs to be. And we've put them into our slabs, or into our thickened slabs at the edges here. Now, the hardest part is going to be, what does the depth of them need to be? So let's get started and let's take a look at, let's do a 12-inch, let's call it a, well, let's say just generic. I don't want to do generic, actually. Generic might have a different, let's say exterior 10-inch concrete. We're going to duplicate this and we're just going to call this 12-inch rib. Okay, so now we can draw this in. We can see this in here. Now, it says it's overlapping with another wall, which definitely is. But let's go find this in here. So you can see that it's overlapping with that curb right now. So what we want to just, we're going to pull it down to a random elevation, and the top here will be like that. Now, what we have to remember is that it said that we wanted the depth of these to be at least 44 inches for these shaded trenches. And the depth is based off of the, let's go find the right one. The depth is based off of the elevation at the top here, the top of the of the uh, of the slab. So if you remember, we want to make this 24 1/4 inches and 1/4 inches thick. So we want to take this. So our top offset is 1 foot 9 1/4, and if we want to do this, we can just say equals negative 1 foot 9 1/4 and drop it down 20. What did we say? 24.25 inches. Let's make sure that that number is correct. Yep, 24.25. And now you can see that the total height of this is 2 foot 0 1/4. Now, what's great is on the flat slab, we can, where everything should have at least similar elevations, we can just copy this around. But actually, as I'm doing this, I'm remembering now that actually this is the flat slab, but this will actually need to come up an inch to be able to deal with the curbs. Because if we remember, wherever we have these curbs, the curb does not figure into the total thickness here. Yeah, here, there's a good example right there. The curb does not figure into the total thickness. So even though it's only a 1-inch curb, it does not, we need to have something that's thicker here. So let's let's just get started on this. I'm going to go ahead and create similar, and I'm going to come in here. But now I want to make sure that this is at the right elevation, because what we're going to see here is that there's actually a 1-inch gap right here. So I'm going to bring the top up 1 foot 8 1/4, and the top 3 foot 8 1/2. Now I can start going through and I can create similar, something like that. Let's go ahead and create similar ones there. Right there. Also right here, I forgot one. And then we can get a similar one right there as well. We don't need to do the lower ones yet. We'll take care of that in just a minute. But we do also have one here. And then there. And we'll bring it all back up together. So we can see that these are all at the right elevation. And the only ones that might not be are these ones right here because they had to come down a lot farther. So let's take this. Top offset minus 2'4" and about 1/4 of an inch. We're going to call that 0.25, right? So let's set, we're going to take this. I'm going to say equals that minus 24.25 inches. So 4'4.5" to 2'4.25. Minus 4 dash 4.5. 2 dash, what did it say? 4.25. Not 1.2. There we go. All right, so those ones are now correct. This one will also need to create a similar one here. Okay. So now we've got those ones modeled in here, and we'll get to the sloping slabs in a minute. Actually, we'll probably do that in a separate video. So now let's go ahead and copy this around, or create a similar one here, but we got to be careful because we need to make sure that it doesn't make it into a single wall, right? So really, probably the best way to do this is to do something that's like, first of all, let's try and remember what our thickness is here. I believe it's 1'4". Okay, sometimes it's easier to just draw a line, 1'4". I believe this one is also 1'4". 1'4". 1'4" there. And I think that if we remember, all we had were 12-inch thick walls and 1'4" thick walls. So maybe just to make it a little bit easier here, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to first duplicate this and make it a 16-inch rib, 1'4". All right, and then I'm going to adjust my location of it. And then I can start copying this one around. Right? And that one will come there. So if we remember, we want to bring, actually, so we'll take this one and we'll create something similar right there, but we want to change it to 1'4", because remember the elevation is a little bit different. We'll just go through and draw these in. Simple as that. And what we'll remember while we're doing this is that we don't have any interior ribs because we're incorporating those all into the thickened slab. What's the thickness of this one? This one might have been a bit different. 1'5.5". So we'll just go ahead and create another one of these. 1'5.5" would be 17.5 inches. All right, so now we've got all of those modeled around the edges, but there are still a few that we need to get in here, which is at these little nubs and everything like that. And it's going to be annoying because now we've got 11-inch rib versus 11-inch thickened slab, but this is part of the reason that I like doing this. So I'm going to take this, we're going to make an 11-inch rib. Not edit profile, what am I doing? Edit type. All right, so now I've got these 11-inch ribs. And then I'm going to, remember since these are a little bit different here, I want to bring this in. I'm going to make this an 11-inch rib. Move it back into place there. The reason I'm doing this is so that the elevations are correct, like the top and bottom elevation are correct. And then I'm going to copy it around to here and here. And then we still have our 1 foot 9 inch rib, which is 21 inches. Copy these in, copy. It's fine if we unjoin elements. See, that's the thickened slab. And there's our rib. Can unjoin those elements, fine, no big deal for now. And we're going to fix how these things get joined together in a minute here. But remember, this one has to come down an extra inch. So let's take a quick look at that. So now these more or less look like they are correct, except that one is not long enough. Not sure why that is. It's because I put the rib in the wrong place. That's why. So let's move the main rib out to the correct spot, and that even looks better. All right, that one's correct. Something about the join order here is looking off. Something about the join order here is looking off. Same here with all of these. So let's go ahead and add a filter in here to turn off all of those slabs. And if we remember, it's the pour level 2 is equal to 0, 1. All right. So I'm going to come in, and it looks like our filter doesn't even apply to the slab edges the same way we had before. So let's add that, make sure that applies to slab edges. Same with 0, 0. There we go. That's certainly a bit easier. And so now we want to figure out what's going on with these lines. And usually what I'll do is I'll just take the one that I know is correct, and I'm going to, I'll maybe pull it back a bit. I'm going to say disallow join. And there's a good reason behind this, which we'll discuss in a minute. See this one right here, not correct. So let's take this one back and, all right. Oh, say disallow join. And then there's these lower ones, and I want to say disallow join on these ones as well. These ones that are at the porches. So let's pull those down as well. Oh. Okay, unjoin elements, disallow join. Apologies for any background noise. My dog just walked into the room. Pull that back, pull that back, disallow join, disallow join. Oops, forgot to disallow the join. All right. So now hopefully we can clean these up just a little bit. And you know what, just to make it a little bit easier here, I think I can turn the lines off somehow. Can I? Yeah, let's just turn all of our lines off. Yeah, all right. So all we need to do now is just join these back together. And pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So as opposed to letting the walls join themselves, we can kind of join these things together. That one looks okay. Those ones look okay. This one looks off a little bit. And let's make sure that we join those together as well. Get all of that stuff together just so that they look just right to us, because the lines that show up on the plans are going to make a difference. Um, so these are the flats, or the what do you call it, the ribs at the flat slabs. And actually, let's go ahead. No, we'll wait to model anything else yet. Or sorry, we'll wait to change any of the pour parameters until we have everything modeled in here. But actually, one thing that I am noticing as well is that we do need to account for the places where we have these thickened slabs coming in. Or sorry, not thickened slabs, where we have these at the porches where the footing is down a little bit farther. So we'll work on that in the next video before we get to the sloping slabs.